Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by old friend Jimmy Dore, who. Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by old friend Jimmy Dore, who has been one of the most consistent people out there against both parties, but specifically the supposedly working class party, the Democratic Party. Jimmy, can I ask you, I'm hearing rumors that you're going to be named Neera Tanden's chief of staff. Is this accurate?
You know what? I don't want to jinx it. But yes, that is supposed to happen. I'm going to launch a Twitter campaign for her. And yeah, that's isn't it something that someone in Joe Biden's campaign used to tweet me or whatever they call that? But anyway, that's I was just wondering, what would it feel like if Joe Biden took a literal piss right in the progressive face? And he did it. It was like, oh my God, he did it. Isn't that something? So, I mean, this is what people don't realize, is that the Democrats, like the corporate Democrats, the liberals is what I call them, right? The Joe Bidens, the Neera Tandens, the Hillary Clintons, they hate progressives way more than Republicans hate progressives. So that's the thing progressives don't understand. And so people keep talking about Jordan, and I'm glad you invited me on your show, because I have this idea, because the progressives, they get power or they get elected, and then they say we don't have any power, right? Which they don't. But they do have some leverage, right? So right now, they have to vote for Nancy Pelosi to be speaker again, right? So we've got at least what now? So with Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman, and so there's got to be at least 7, 8, 9 really progressive members. You need less than a dozen progressives to tell Nancy Pelosi, I'm withholding my vote for you as speaker unless you promise to bring Medicare for all for a vote on the floor, because it will win. So that's what she has to do. And if she doesn't do that, then we're going to withhold your vote. And if you want to risk Kevin McCarthy becoming speaker, well, that's on your head, because we're willing to play hardball. So that's what they could do right now. No one else is. Don't believe me. They've thought of this, Jordan. So I'm asking everyone to help push them into doing this. Everybody in the squad, Ro Khanna, anybody who's a progressive, who's elected, right, who's in the House. This is the only leverage you have. This is the moment. And you know, the fucking Tea Party caucus would have done this. Those Freedom Party caucus people, they would do this. And so this is when the progressives can flex their muscle. This is when they have a little bit of leverage. And right now, what they need to do, because they have to vote for Nancy Pelosi when they all get sworn in, they have to say, Nancy, we're not voting for you. I'm sorry, that's sexist. You can't use her first name. Speaker Pelosi, we are going to withhold our vote. It's up to you, because this is popular with 9 out of 10 Democrats. And the only reason you're not bringing it up for a vote is because of obvious corruption. And we need to run on this. And so we're going to bring it up for a vote. And if you don't want to let this come up for a vote, then you're going to lose your speakership. And that's on Nancy Pelosi. That's how you play this game. And so I hope that other people would pick up this message. You know, I would love to eat, because I've said about the squad, you know this, that I think it's worse to have progressives inside the Democratic Party, because it gives the false impression that the Democratic Party is actually an opposition party, when the Democrats who control the party actually hate progressives more than Republicans do. So I'd love to eat my words and say that it's a fool's errand to have a progressive run inside the Democratic Party, which is what I have been saying. So and you know me, I'm trying to work on a third party with Nick Braun. I mean, Nick Braun is working on it. I'm just doing whatever I can to help. And so those are my solutions, right? But right now, a big solution is we need the progressives who actually have leverage over Nancy Pelosi right now to say, you bring Medicare for all. It's popular with Republicans, for F's sake. The majority of Trump voters want Medicare for all. So if they don't do that, they can do this. So I'm urging them to do it. And if they don't do this, it's got to be over for people thinking progressives are going to do anything except capitulate inside the Democratic Party. But my fingers are crossed, and I'm urging all the other YouTubers who are progressives to get behind this message. And I'm asking you, Jordan, I would hope that you would join me in doing this. And what I can't see a downside for the progressives in Congress doing this. Can you?
I actually agree with you, and the key word you said was leverage. In the past, I don't think progressives have had the leverage. I know you and I probably disagree on certain instances, but here, Democrats have narrowed. Their lead in the House has narrowed. So even though, obviously the Progressive Caucus, whatever, maybe it's between 10 and 15 people, that's going to be key in a lot of votes, not just getting Medicare for All voted on, but Biden cabinet positions. They'll go through committees too in the House and other things. And the Progressive Caucus, which now includes Bowman, Cori Bush, a few others, they have the power, because if they say no with the Republicans, Nancy Pelosi ain't passing anything.
Well, she can't even become speaker without them. So right. You're right. You're right. They didn't have leverage. They have it now because Nancy Pelosi is such a horrible leader that she lost seats in the House under Donald Trump. That's how bad and corrupt the Democrats are. That's how little they're offering people. So, and by the way, everybody who ran on Medicare for All, as AOC points out, won their election. And it was the quote-unquote moderates. There's nothing moderate, by the way, about denying people health care in the middle of a pandemic. There's nothing moderate about that. That's radical. What's not radical? Medicare for All. That's how everywhere. They have it in Barbados. They have it in Rwanda. They have it in Russia. They have it in Israel, Canada, France. They have it everywhere. The place that they don't have it is here. That's what's radical. The radical position is Nancy Pelosi's to stop Medicare for All. That's radical. We're normal.
And what do you think in terms of where the fine line is? Because I know you were very harsh on Bernie, AOC, a lot of these others for not trying to block the CARES Act.
Right.
But on the other end, it was a gigantic shit sandwich. You call it biggest upward transfer of wealth in modern history. I agree. But on the other hand, it seems to me Bernie could have voted against it, but if they would have blocked it, that's a delay in the only good thing, which was the $600 a week unemployment and the stimulus checks. It was not enough, but where is the fine line between standing your ground and fighting now versus, if you block things, people are going to suffer?
So, yes, I make the case that what Bernie Sanders and the progressives should have been doing was alerting people that there was a big theft coming, that there was a big upward transfer of wealth coming, and that the CARES Act didn't have anything in it for them, including a UBI or health care during the middle of a deadly pandemic. But what did it include? $5 trillion upward transfer of wealth. So what Bernie Sanders should have did, and what all the progressives should have done, it happened so fast. It's the shock doctrine, that Jordan, you know that.
Yeah.
And so what took them months before, in 2008, when Barack Obama was president, they got it done like in a week this time. And so what the CARES Act was the way Dylan Radigan explained it on my show, was that if the United States economy is a car, and your car breaks down on the side of the road and it needs help, what the United States government did when it showed up, it didn't give it more gas. It didn't put gas in the tank or fix the flat. It actually ripped the car radio out of it and still didn't fix the car. The car's still there. It just ripped out whatever it had. So what Bernie Sanders should have did was put a hold on it, warn people what was happening to make sure we got something, a health care, a UBI, or something in that bill. Those people, Nancy Pelosi said, whatever you think you're going to do later, or whatever you want to do, whatever you have a problem with in this bill, we are passing this now. That's what she said when Wall Street wanted their money. What did she say when actual people wanted their money? If Donald Trump wants his name on a check, that ain't going to happen. So what AOC said about the CARES Act was true, that that $1,200 payment and that unemployment insurance were crumbs. Those were crumbs. She was correct when she said that. The thing that she was incorrect was that was because of Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell. That was because also, just as guilty, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, who negotiated that bill. And the problem I had with Bernie Sanders was that he went out and gave a grandstanding speech for the unemployment insurance, and people then falsely thought that he did that to get us the unemployment insurance. That is not what happened. There was already a deal in place. Michael Bennet wrote that part of the unemployment insurance. It was already guaranteed to go through. Bernie gave a grandstanding speech. And then he bullshitted people into thinking that's what got us that, and that didn't happen. And so what is the point of voting for progressives if they go to, they're not, by the way, it would have passed if they voted against it. but it was 96-0.
Right.
Bernie Sanders voted against the Iraq War. Why not vote against the largest upward transfer of wealth in the history of human race? So you can warn people what's coming. Right now, there are thousands of people in food lines in Texas. There's people sleeping under bridges, on top of bridges here in frickin' Pasadena, California. And that's because the CARES Act didn't do anything to take care of people, and they got no plans to take care of people. So as Norman Solomon said about the squad, what is the point of voting for progressives if they're going to vote to expand their surveillance state anyway? I say there is no point. What's the point of voting for them when they go there and they vote for the largest theft in the history of our country without getting you anything for it? That's when they had leverage. The oligarchs wanted their $5 trillion. That's when they had leverage. That's when they bent the knee to Nancy Pelosi. They did it on a voice vote. Only guy to ask for a recorded vote was Thomas Massie. Okay, so they don't even have the guts to stand by their vote. And now nobody, Jordan, nobody is holding their feet to the fire for that vote. In fact, they do the bullshit line of saying, oh, well, we had to get the unemployed, the $1,200 payment. And that was put there so they could say that while they gave $5 trillion to the richest people in the world. I know that. Dylan Radigan knows that. But you know what they also know is that no one's going to hold their feet to the fire because people took the bait. That the cheese in the trap was that $1,200 payment and the unemployed. That was the cheese in the trap. And now it's all over. That $5 trillion went upward. It's fucking over. And people are sleeping in the streets, in food lines, and unemployed. If you're in the upper 10% of wealth earners, you got no trouble. You probably got more free time than you ever had. But if you're not in that upper 10%, you're losing your job, you're losing your health care, you're treading water, and now they've got no leverage to get anything done ever. And they bullshitted you about what they got you. So the least they should have did was warn everybody that there was a fucking theft happening. They didn't do that. The most we got was AOC said that it was the Republicans' fault for giving us crumbs in this bill. That was as close as she was come. But of course, everyone knows the Democrats run the House. They couldn't pass the CARES Act unless Nancy Pelosi made that happen. Nancy Pelosi made that happen. She made it happen without a UBI. She made it happen without health care for people in the middle of a fucking pandemic. She made it happen without any plans to help people with rent. She helped without any plans to help people with their mortgage. There's a foreclosure crisis coming. And the last time Joe Biden was in the White House, there was another foreclosure crisis. You know what his solution was? Kick 5.1 million families out of their house. I bet he's going to do the same thing.
Well, I said at the time, I mean, this is a grand bank robbery, and Nancy Pelosi's driving the getaway car. I mean, they're kind of in on it together. Maybe the Republicans were, opening the safe, but Pelosi was outside and she drove away. So I agree. I wanted to ask you specifically about Bernie. I mean, I know you've had starker words than I have. I do criticize him. I just don't call him a coward in these things. However, Bernie strikes me right now as kind of doing what Obama did. Like, Obama ran on all these platitudes, but he had this massive organizing army, and he left them on the White House lawn. I mean, he didn't use it, and then just threw up his hands and said, well, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan can't do anything. I mean, Bernie didn't win the presidency, but I mean, his Slack channel has more people than DSA has signed up. I mean, just the sheer apparatus that Bernie's campaign over 4 years created, you could be doing serious things. And if you want to take him at face value, maybe you disagreed, but all right, he said, we're going to get Biden in, and then we're going to fight him on day one. Well, it's day one, and I don't really hear anything from Bernie right now. I'm pretty sure he's smart enough to know he's not going to get a White House parking pass, much less labor secretary. Why do you think he's not using that army? Because right now you just have these different islands, Sunrise Movement, Justice Democrats, but it's not an organized progressive movement to tap into this leverage you're speaking of.
Why do I think...
Because I don't think I understand your anger. I don't think he's a coward. I think he's really bad at politics. I think he's really bad at power politics.
Okay, we could, whatever descriptors we want to use, but Kyle Kalinske calls him a cuck. I call him a coward. You call him bad at politics. When the rubber meets the road, Bernie Sanders capitulated to the machine. Bernie Sanders threw his movement under the bus. Bernie Sanders didn't extract anything after 4 fucking years, did nothing. They cheated him. He did nothing to make sure they didn't cheat him again. It's just, and instead of doing something like I wanted them to do, was to actually build an organization outside the Democratic Party. By the way, that's not my idea. That's Bernie Sanders' idea. Bernie Sanders said before Before he became popular, he used to say there has to be a rainbow coalition and it has to happen outside the Democratic Party. That's what he used to say. And then as soon as he got popular, he stopped saying that because the Democratic Party put the fucking screws to him and he bends the knee. And what is the point of fucking voting for a guy who does that? I don't really know. He voted for the largest upward transfer of wealth in the history of the human race, and he got shit for it. And there's no answering for that, and he'll never make up for it. And he then threw his movement under the bus fucking for Joe Biden. So he'll never make up for that. And by the way, the point is, you know how they all voted for it, the Iraq War, so then nobody's to blame. It's the same thing. Everybody voted for the CARES Act, so nobody's to blame. And fucking they know that. Ro Khanna came on my show and gave me that bullshit excuse about, oh, well, we had to get that $1,200. You mean the crumbs? The shit that AOC called crumbs? You guys got fucking rolled and you went along with it. You didn't even vote against it. They could have, and it would have still passed, but they voted for it. That's how fucked up the two-party politics are.
Well, I also think with Bernie, to me, listen, he was 10 days away from possibly clinching the Democratic nomination. He's on 60 Minutes. That's your first and probably best opportunity to kind of cater to those older voters that have been programmed and brainwashed that you're a radical boogeyman. And it seems to me he just kind of got roped into this Cuba stuff and other stuff, but he never actually tweaked his message. You might not agree with me, but I don't think progressives can win electorally unless they slice off, I don't know, 5-10% of that older voter. And I think those older voters, by the data, actually are closet progressives. They've just been programmed. Biden, Super Tuesday, the exit polls showed the majority of his voters decided in those final days. They weren't sold on Joe Biden, but why did they decide for Biden? He had $100 million of never-ending cheerleading on MSNBC, CNN. That you remember that Pete, Beto, Amy pep rally? So it seems to me Bernie never even tried to win those voters because he was very, very focused on, you know, the young voters and expanding the electorate and all these things. Do you think progressives need to try to cater to some of these voters, or you just want scorched earth?
I don't. I mean, I think I don't. I gave my opinion on why I think Bernie lost the primary. There's many reasons. I think for me, the biggest reason is he didn't articulate what the problem was, and the problem was, hey, how do we get Donald Trump? And he never told us. He got Donald Trump because the Democratic Party, which is what he told us the first time, he was saying this is how screwed up shit is, and the second time he just started running around saying Donald Trump is. You know what I know from Bernie Sanders' campaign? I know two things about Bernie Sanders. I know that he thinks Donald Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of the country, which is patently not true. I also know that he thinks Joe Biden is his good friend. That's all I fucking know. That's it. So that's a shitty campaign. He sounded like every other Democrat. He wouldn't go after Joe Biden. He wouldn't fucking say what the problem was. He wouldn't turn to Joe Biden and say, the reason why you don't understand the math behind Medicare for all, Joe, is because you're bought. And because you're paid to not understand it. He wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't even run a fucking campaign against them. He went beyond cowardly. Kyle uses the term cuck. It was Chris Hedges predicted it. So I feel like the fucking idiot, right? I'm the dummy. But I told them all along, don't do this. Don't run inside that party. Fucking do something else. That's how you actually will have power over them. But believe me, how you can run for president and not criticize Joe Biden and say the guy was in office the last time. That's why we got Donald Trump. You want to know why we got Donald Trump? He's fucking standing right next to me. That's why. You want to know why we got Donald Trump? Because this guy's going to deny you health care. Because this guy's been bought and paid for. Because this guy's also a pathological liar. And everyone knows it. By the way, he's demented.
Yeah. I was slamming him. I was slamming him after these debates because, I mean, the guy has literally made up his entire civil rights record, which, I don't know. I tend to feel like people don't like being lied to. I got arrested meeting Mandela in South Africa. I participated in civil rights sit-ins. I didn't pal around with Strom Thurmond. You're right. He didn't want to go for the jugular. Going forward, to me, I think that, Biden is literally unveiling a hall of fame of corporatist, warmonger, neoliberals. It's actually like the arrogance of it I didn't expect. I thought they'd sprinkle in maybe one or two progressives, hold the keys kind of positions. But to me, what is the path? Because I'm beginning to hear from more and more people when I'm on the streets, when I'm covering protests and this and that, people are starting to prepare for outside of electoral politics strategies, really, really doubling down on let's get more people unionized. Let's not just strike against Amazon for one day. Let's do it for a week. Let's do it for a month. Do you see that the progressive movement needs to not only focus on, congressional Senate leadership, but maybe use this terrible pandemic to our advantage? There's a whole lot more people struggling than before the pandemic, not just progressives. There's a whole lot of people that have nothing left to lose. Isn't now the time to try and build a movement of economic protest? So,
one of the criticisms I hear launched at me often in our show, Jimmy Dore Show, is that we don't have any solutions, that we're just critics. And I've have plenty of solutions. The first one, of course, is ranked choice voting. The second one would be direct action. I have a strike page at my website. We've had union leaders, organizers, Christian Smalls from Amazon, all kinds of people on our show advocating, people from Portland, international workers unions, all kinds of people. That's another solution, right? So direct action, that's exactly what you're talking about. And that's exactly what we need. And then the third thing would be a third party, which I've stuck my chin out for a long time saying we need to. I've advocated for that. I voted for Jill Stein in 2016, and I certainly didn't vote for Joe Biden. So those would be the three things, and I'm doing what I can to help build a third party. Nick Brod is doing most of the work, and he's got great people with him. Cornel West is helping, and Nina Turner, and there's lots of people involved. Mike Gravel, and there's all kinds of people. So I'm going to leave out people, so I'll stop naming them. But I agree with you. I think the direct action, and I think a third party. And it obviously running progressives inside the Democratic Party is not working at all because everything gets worse every day. Can anyone point to a victory?
Yeah, well, they've been winning piecemeal. Every cycle, we're winning seats, but that's not changing the balance of power. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. What have they gotten out of that? What do we get? So now instead of Joe Crowley voting for Nancy Pelosi to fuck over everybody, we have AOC voting for Nancy Pelosi to fuck over everybody. She promised, Jordan, let me just say, she promised. I had Glenn Greenwald on my show last week, and he said that, he thought AOC was going to be different. And he met with her, and she said that she was telling the truth about Israel, and she promised not to vote for Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer. And then the first thing she did was fucking flip-flop, fill her office with people who were friendly to the Democratic Party, and vote for Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer. And then he said, I knew that was over. And I said, yeah, I should have known it then too, but yeah, I think that was when it happened for me. So I agree with you. We got to have direct action. I don't know how much longer you can deny people fucking health care. I just don't get how people put up with that shit. I just don't get how people put up with that.
With mutating viruses that might have a part 2, part 3.
And so the pandemic did prove, Jordan, that the essential workers are not hedge fund managers or Wall Street executives. They are the people who work at Amazon. They are the people who work at the grocery stores. They're the people who work at UPS. They're the people who work at the hospitals. These are the essential workers. And if here in California, our grocery stores, Ralph's. Everybody has a Ralph's in their neighborhood. They go grocery store. If the Ralph's closed down, believe me, it would shut down the fucking state, and shit would happen. They have so much power. And so I agree with you. The union, I've had lots of union organizers on my show, lots of videos out there. I'm not smart enough to know how to do something like that, but I give anybody a platform who wants to do. Why wasn't Bernie using what we need is a general strike? Right now, there's 200 million people striking in India. Did you know that? Yep. On November 27th, 200 million fucking people went on strike in India. Did you hear about that in the United States? You did not hear about that. And I wonder why. It's because your media is bought.
Well, it also, I think it's a domino effect, because why was the Yellow Vest movement in France successful in getting some concessions from Macron? Because they have health care. So they're not gravely afraid to protest. If they lose their jobs, so be it. They'll find another one, but they have health care. So I think that is a major source of power that the Wall Street and the corporate, the United Corporations of America, I call it, keep over people. It's not just depriving them of health care. It's scaring the living shit out of them from protesting because you'll be left, on the street with no insulin or whatever it is.
I'm not smart enough to understand why this is so hard. I guess the answer is obvious. Why can't... I remember after Donald Trump got elected, I turned to Cenk Uygur, I was still at the Young Turks, and I said, let's do something concrete. And he said, what? I said, let's unionize all the Walmart workers in California. Let's figure out how to do it, and let's fucking do it. And he had other ideas, so we never joined forces on that. And I just still don't understand. I mean, I get why, because they'll, it's hard. They'll kill you. They'll do that. They're hiring Pinkertons. Right. And shit. I get how they push back against union. They'll fire people. They threaten people's jobs, and those are the people in desperate situations. I get that's how they. But you would think there'd be some kind of charismatic leader that would come along to be able. Well, in Texas, when the Walmart meat packers unionized, Walmart got rid of meat packing in Texas. That's just what they did. So that's how they're willing to play rough like that. But I'm telling you, if the UPS driver or how. And here's the thing I don't understand. So we gotta keep doing these lockdowns for COVID. Why is it that a sporting goods store has to lock down, but fucking Amazon doesn't? Because a sporting goods store would have 10 people inside of it, but Amazon has 1,000 people inside their fucking warehouse. Why do they get to get all that sporting goods business, but the guy who with the small business has to shut down? And if you're gonna make that guy with the small business shut down, you gotta take some of those profits from fucking Amazon and give it to that guy, because that's not a fair economic system you're using right now, and we need to have so you see what I'm saying, right?
Well, because the sporting goods store didn't pay off every level of government.
That's right.
And Bezos did. The devil's advocate, I want to ask you, because people who say no, keep fighting to take over the Democratic Party within would say, Jimmy, yeah, I'm not opposed to a third party, but this corporate oligarchy was not built overnight. So you expecting to take over the Democratic Party in just 4 years is giving false hope to your viewers. You're being impatient, people would say. And the wins that we have scored, 10 to 15 progressive victories over the last 4 years, Sunrise Movement, some small victories, are steps in the right direction. Why not continue in that direction rather than a third party?
Well, if it was just 4 years, that would be one thing. This has been 40 years. So this has been 40 years. This started, Bill Clinton told, the idea that Bill Clinton was the lesser of two evils with George Herbert Walker Bush, again, is arguable. I say it wasn't. He wasn't. He certainly wasn't when it came to Bob Dole.
He got way more Republican shit done than George Bush ever would have.
That's exactly right. People don't realize that George Herbert Walker Bush couldn't pass NAFTA. It took a Democrat to come in and give those blue dog Democrats cover for voting against unions and cutting the fucking legs out from underneath unions. And that's what Bill Clinton was able to achieve, which a Republican wasn't. Just like he was able to do that at the same time he was gutting welfare and exploding the prison population, and then deregulated Wall Street and also deregulated the media, which is why we have a concentrated 6 companies that run all the media now. So if Bill Clinton was able to do that, they would not have let George Herbert Walker Bush do that shit. They would have been protests against it, but because Bill Clinton, a Democrat who was being attacked by the right wing all the time, then people rallied around him and they helped him pass his deregulation of Wall Street, which crashed our economy within a fucking decade, right? And then we get Barack Obama. And why did we get Barack Obama president? Barack Obama took us from 2 wars to 7. He opened the Arctic to drilling twice. He made the banks bigger while he kicked 5.1 million families out of their house. He built those cages that Trump put those immigrants in. He deported way more Hispanics than Donald Trump did, which I predicted the day Donald Trump was elected that would happen. So the lesser of two evil was not Barack Obama. They would never let John McCain do that shit. So I want a wolf in wolf's clothing. I don't want a wolf in sheep's clothing. And progressives inside the Democratic Party are not only a wolf in sheep's clothing, they're wrapped up like little baby lambs going bah. So I don't need that. That's a big head fake. That if you think that the takeover of the Democratic Party is happening, I bet it'll happen 5 years after climate change kills us all. So the idea that, and they have zero power right now. The progressives have leverage enough to get Medicare for all up for a vote. Are they going to use it, Jordan? Are even other progressives in the media going to pressure them to do that? Fucking no.
I wanted to lastly ask you, you look a lot better in the last few years because of the Russian boogeyman. You were very frail, very nervous, scared. I understand, definitely a lot of therapy bills because of all this. Are you sleeping better now? Because obviously there's no Russian threat anymore. The Democrats have retaken the White House.
Isn't it great that the Democrats can run their Isn't it funny they blamed Russia for rigging the election when it was Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton who completely rigged the 2016 primary? I mean, that's why Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to step down. That's what Dore Brazil found out. There was a secret contract. The people who rigged the elections are Democrats. And who do they rig them against? Progressives. But yeah, I think, I don't know if you've...
It's just disappeared from discussion.
That just disappeared. It's amazing how it just went away. I thought Russia was all powerful. Turns out not. Hey, it's in my lifetime I saw McCarthyism come back from on the left, Cold War come back on the left. It's not, Russiagate came back from the left, and now pro-censorship is coming from the left. It's fucking nuts, man. I don't know which way is up. That's why we need a third party. I think Nick Brana's People's Party, which is focused on economics, just like what you were talking about. It's not focused on quote unquote culture issues. It's focused on brass tacks policies that help workers, right? Medicare for all. That's the big thing. And we want to get money out of politics. That's it. You get money out of politics, we can at least have an honest discussion about policy. But with money in politics, that's what perverts everything, and you're never having an honest conversation.
Thank you for taking the time. Make sure, subscribe to Jimmy's show if you haven't. YouTube and all its fuckery has been messing with Jimmy, me, many others, unsubscribing people. They hide us in a cave. This is the censorship that he's talking about, and it's only going to get worse. So I appreciate you coming on, Jimmy.
Okay, I appreciate. Hey, what happened to Glenn Greenwald is not going to stop. Once Joe Biden starts his 2 new wars, at least he's going to start 2 new ones, and you start to report accurately on it, Jordan, they're going to censor you. And
by the way, I'm not hearing any chorus to pressure Joe Biden to reverse the likely extradition of Julian Assange. Biden likes to take credit for everything Obama did or didn't do. Well, Obama didn't prosecute Julian Assange, so maybe he should reverse that because he's already being psychologically and physically tortured now for a year.
I mean, the point is, Jordan, it's going to come down to people like you and me and our other because the mainstream media is not going to do it. It's going to come down to us to actually keep pointing out to people, this is what they could be doing, this is what they should be doing. And what they could be doing right now is getting us to vote for Medicare for all. And if they don't do that, Jordan, doesn't that just kind of defeat the argument of trying to take over the Democratic Party? Because even once they get in there and they have leverage, they don't fucking use it anyway.
Right now, I 100% agree. They have the leverage. They should be demanding. We're not just mindlessly voting for you, Nancy Pelosi. You're 80 years old. You've lost more than you've won over the last decade. So, yeah, we need... And you're not asking for passage. You're asking for a vote, for a debate.
Just a vote.
Yeah.
Just a vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Jordan. Thank you so much, buddy. Good luck to you.
Thanks, man. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email. That was Jimmy Dore. Appreciate him coming on. A lot of things we agree on there. Honestly, I think that the difference between Jimmy and a lot of other people, because Jimmy gets a lot of heat and most of it I don't think he should get. Some of it, I've said, I don't agree with him on. But if you're not angry like Jimmy is, you're not paying attention. Again, if you're not as angry as Jimmy is, you're not paying attention. Now is not the time for thoughtful discussion on ways to compromise, to give the masses crumbs. Now is the time that there are food lines around the country. Now is the time that literally you're facing an evictions monsoon in the new year. And, I think we had a good discussion. I tried to, I don't want to say push back. I didn't want to debate him, but at least ask him some devil's advocate questions. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And right now, progressives do have leverage. What he said about progressives demanding a vote on Medicare for all in exchange for voting for Pelosi, I mean, why wouldn't they do that? They have the numbers right now to potentially threaten Pelosi getting elected speaker again. So why not go for it? Because you've been trying to be diplomatic with Pelosi. You've been trying to,
AOC calling her mama bear and all this other stuff, and it's gotten you nowhere. So now you have the numbers that you could actually, if they don't get the progressive caucus in the House's votes, mixed with the Republicans not voting for her, well, that's what's going to happen. She's not going to become speaker. So I completely agree with him on that. Jimmy's a polarizing guy. I mean, I already got an email from somebody like as soon as I started the interview. Please cancel my subscription. I enjoy most of your content, but I really don't like Jimmy Dore at all. So please cancel my sub. Kelly, to that I say goodbye. This is the problem with the progressive movement on both sides. Sometimes I think, folks like Jimmy, if you don't agree with him 100%, you're a sellout. But on the other side, people that don't agree with Jimmy 100% are messaging me, cancel my membership because you had Jimmy Dore on. If you literally only want to live in a little cocoon where you only hear your opinions and perspectives validated 100%, then you're going to be a loser and the minority party forever and ever. I don't agree with Jimmy on every single thing. I know he doesn't agree with me on every single thing, but I know that his intentions are pure. I know that his motivations are pure. He might be angrier than you are. He might, be more scorched earth than you are, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk to each other. That doesn't mean we shouldn't hear each other's perspective. No, not Kelly Elaine. Definitely not. We love Kelly Elaine. But I can't stand these people who are like, oh my God, if you dare talk to someone that I don't agree with 100% or I find objectionable, pox on your whole house, get rid of my membership. Go away. Go away. So I 100% agree with him. Right now is the time to leverage just for a vote on literally a vote on Medicare for all. That's not asking a lot. I completely agree with him. I don't agree that Bernie's a coward, a sellout. I told him that. But I do agree. What is Bernie doing right now with his army? Because Bernie did say, hold your nose, vote for Biden. We got to get rid of Trump, and then we'll fight Biden on day one. Well, it's beyond day one. He's staffing his cabinet right now with a who's who of Wall Street corporatist, neoliberal warmongers, and I haven't heard a word from Bernie. He literally just appointed Neera Tandon, who more than anybody other than Wall Street and fossil fuckers and big pharma and big real estate went after Bernie Sanders, and I haven't heard a word from him yet. So what is Bernie waiting for? That's what I'd like to know. And this is coming from somebody who likes Bernie. And at this point, I agree with Jimmy. AOC, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Mark Pocan, who else? Now Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush. You're starting to have the numbers to actually threaten the House Democrats, threaten Nancy Pelosi that she cannot get her stuff through. Use your leverage, like Jimmy said. So we'll cut that up. We'll post it tomorrow in several clips. Before I get to the next topic, oh boy, wait till you see this Joy Reid clip. Wait till you see this Joy Reid clip. The gaslighting is unbelievable. By the way, we got 1,500 people watching. Smash that like button, thumbs up button right under the video. More people that press like, the more people that will see this. Wanted to make a quick announcement. As you know, because of COVID, our website getting hacked, we've actually lost a hell of a lot of members since the coronavirus started. That's how many members we've lost. We're now at 1,544. 1,544. As you know, membership is how we cover our in-the-field reporting. I love Jimmy. I love Kyle. I love all progressive media. But the facts are we have higher expenses than all of them because we go out in the field and report in the field. So for COVID, and hopefully this doesn't last much longer, Jen and I, and Jen, by the way, is still sick. She hasn't gotten her test back yet, but she thinks she has coronavirus. She has all the symptoms. She did do a telemedicine appointment, and the doctor she was talking to in telemedicine told her she has coronavirus based on the symptoms. She's got a lighter fever today. It's still a cough, still very fatigued, but fortunately nothing worse. Fever hasn't been going up. Breathing problems not leading to the hospital or anything like that. So fingers crossed that it's just a matter of a couple days until she starts feeling better. But I wanted to introduce to you, because we really want to get our membership number back up, we are now adding a lower member level, a $2 a month, $2 a month member level, which gives you access to our Discord channel, aka Coup de Discord. So if you're already a member in our Discord, you know it's a lot of fun. We have different channels in our Discord. I pop in from time to time. Jen pops in. So if you sign up at $2 a month, you will get the link to our Discord. Let me show you the page right now. I'm going to put this in the super chat. Here's the link to sign up. I just put it in the super chat. Let me pin it to the top. Oh, it's already pinned at the top. So if you look in the super chat at the top pinned thing, the pinned comment, you could click on that link. It will bring you to this page right here. You sign up. Hold on. How to join. You sign up. No, of course. Well, I already signed up, so that's why. I did a test sign up. So once you click on this page, you sign up, and you'll see a link. You'll see a link right there to sign up. And once you sign up, you could sign up through PayPal or Stripe. Once you sign up through PayPal or Stripe, you'll get the link to the Discord. And once you get into the Discord, fairly self-explanatory how to use it. We do hope more of you who have been struggling and maybe can't afford the $5 a month membership might be able to join at the $2 level. It doesn't give you access to the monthly members call. You'd have to sign up at $5 a month to get access to the monthly members call, as well as the behind-the-scenes videos we do. But we hope at $2 a month, that's more affordable for more people. And again, you'll get access to our Discord. So definitely sign up. Here's the link one more time. And I'll remind you again in a little bit. If you have any questions, email us info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com. So I want to show you this link. Oh, by the way, welcome new member Scotty signed up as a new Status Coup member. So we're now at 1,544. 1,544 members. Obviously, we want to get that up. So I'm hoping $2 a month is within your budget. As humbly as I could say it, I don't know any other outlets that travel as much as we do, that get out there in the field. It's fine to do commentary from your apartment or home. It's a whole other thing to get out there on the front lines to cover the corruption, to cover environmental genocide, to keep going back to Flint nearly 7 years after their water has been poisoned. We're now looking into possibly going back to Virginia when it's safe, because there's more and more tree sitters protesting at the top of their trees so that their trees won't get cut down, so that a massive natural gas pipeline won't go through the Appalachian Trail. Also, obviously, we've been to Detroit, Ohio, covering when General Motors laid off 15,000 people after getting a $51 billion bailout. We've covered a lot of things that no one else will touch, and we've done it going out in the field. Of course, we covered the primaries. We were in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, California, Michigan. We've been everywhere. And we were out, even though it was Biden versus Trump, we were out in the field covering the campaign in the way that we cover it. So I really, really hope more people could sign up at just $2 a month. $2 a month. Definitely, if you can, consider it. And of course, if you're new here, subscribe to this channel. So, Joy Reid seemed to have a different opinion on Neera Tanden being selected as the Office of Budget and Management chair. Let's take a look at our friend Joy Reid and her epic gaslighting.
About that, because you've already got people carping about Neera Tanden. There have, up to date, not been any Asian American AAPI nominees. Yes. Of course, Neera's background is Indian American. Yes. She's already getting beaten up by people like Senator Cornyn of Texas, going after her for combative and insulting comments about many members of the Senate, many on our side of the aisle, blah, 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 as if John Cornyn, at one point, I think he called Trump a toddler, or that he needed to, it's not as if these people on the right have not said a lot of untoward things about Democrats, about members of the House of Representatives, including AOC, and they feel free to do that and say whatever they want, and they think they should get what they want. What do you make of them trying to use, Neera Tanden's tweets as a reason not to give her to stand in the way of her getting the job?
Well, the label hypocrisy doesn't apply to the Republicans in their view. And so rampant hypocrisy is what they exhibit all the time. They're going to have a chance to question Neera regarding all of the issues that they're concerned about. And she comes to that job at OMB with the life experiences of being on food stamps, being in Section 8 housing. She understands the role of government to actually help people and help families, as opposed to one of her predecessors, Mulvaney, whose goal in life was to cut back on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, who thought that government wasn't there to help people. His job was to constrict government as much as possible. So you have in Neera Tandon somebody who has lived the experience of experiencing the social safety net that the government provides and people needing a helping hand. And so she is going to be reflective of the values that support people, support families, which is really quite a relief for those of us who look on government as not the total solution, but as part of enabling people to thrive in our country.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Thank you for the super chats, by the way. Keep them coming. Hold on. Let me try to get to some super chats. Thank you. Sebastiano, $10. Thanks for having Jimmy on from a goofy broke boy. Appreciate it, my goofy broke boy friend. Lana, $5. Minnesota just approved Line 3 replacement in northern part of the state. Native American land. Thank you. I will look into that right after this. I've been doing a couple interviews recently with Native Americans, particularly on COVID. Obviously, I try to cover Native American issues more than most. By the way, we just got a new Status Coup member. Welcome, Status Coup member Kelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just got a new member, Tanya. So already we got Scotty, Kelly, Tanya. Keep signing up as new Status Coup members. Here's the link one more time. You could sign up for as low as $2. But we have other levels as well. Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. Really appreciate everybody signing up. So where do I even start? First of all, I want to say, and people could call me racist if they want and say you're a white boy. I don't give a shit if Neera Tandon is the first Indian American to be appointed as OMB director. All of this identity politics on steroids. I don't care if they're white, if they're black, if they're brown, if they're glow in the dark, if they're purple, if they are neoliberal and corrupt. When people like Joy Reid, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is their race or gender or sexual orientation or whatever, that is the Democratic Party's never-ending shield for corruption, to avoid any discussion of their beliefs, of their policies, of their record. They're black. They're Indian American. The deputy treasurer is black. So let's totally forget that he was part of the Obama Foundation, and let's forget that the guy that is now deputy treasurer under Biden literally was Obama's international economics advisor, who was instrumental in Obama's push for TPP, that devastating trade deal that thankfully didn't get passed. So this black guy that they are appointing as the deputy treasury secretary, clapping their hands because, yay, we got a black guy as deputy treasury secretary, is a free trade lover person who will help Biden push the TPP through, which will be the final nail in organized labor's coffin, this TPP deal. And I don't care if Neera Tandon is Indian American. She's neoliberal. She's corrupt. She is, if you watch the movie Mean Girls, she's a mean girl. Sorry, it's true. And most importantly, I love Mazie Hirono, this senator from Hawaii. Whatever. I don't have an issue with her. She seems like a lovely person. I love how in the same sentence she says, and, thank God, Neera Tandon is going to be replacing Mick Mulvaney, whose mission in life was to cut Social Security, like, I don't know, say Neera Tanden's mission in life?
Ideas and proposals too. So I think the challenge is that we should have entitlements on the savings So I think the challenge is that we should have entitlements on the savings on the entitlements, and the Center for American Progress has put forward ideas and proposals to reform the beneficiary structure of Social Security. Some of our progressive allies aren't as excited about that as we are, but we've put those ideas on the table. But we think that those are legitimate ideas that need to be put part of a proposal where everyone's at the table. We don't just ask middle-class Americans to sacrifice. We ask all Americans, and especially, I think it's not unreasonable to ask the wealthiest Americans to pay simply what they were paying in the Bush years.
So let's get this straight. That was Neera Tanden not 20 years ago. Neera Tanden 8 years ago, when the economy was still in the abyss. The economy was still in the shitter. Basically saying, I'm the head of the Center for American Progress, and we're excited. Maybe our progressive allies aren't as excited. We're excited for, entitlement reforms, i.e. raising the Social Security age, cutting benefits. Yes, because this is how, all people need to sacrifice. Well, if you are actually a progressive, number one, Social Security is not an entitlement. You're not entitled to it. You pay into it. You pay into it your whole working life. You're not getting something for nothing. You paid into it. So why it would be a scam if you have money continually taken out of your paycheck for 30, 40 years, and then you have to have that cut to close the deficit because George W. Bush went willy-nilly around the world and started 2 wars, or because Bill Clinton or Obama or all these other people gave massive tax cuts to wealthy people and corporations who didn't need it. So we need to raise the Social Security age as some virtue signal that everybody's going to feel the pain. No. If you're a progressive, which Neera Tanden is not, working people should not have to feel the pain because this country became the United Corporations of America a long time ago. So if this person who 8 years ago was talking as if the responsible thing to do is to put Social Security, Medicare, other things on the table for cuts, which, by the way, Biden pushed in the 1980s and the 1990s, what do you think she's going to do in charge of the national budget? What do you think she's going to do? Because she obviously cares about debts and deficits, which I don't care about. I believe in modern monetary theory. We print money for war. We print money for tax cuts for corporations. We print money to give subsidies to Goldman Sachs, Raytheon, Pfizer, and many others. So I don't really get why it is we can't just print money to make sure people have food during the dark COVID winter, to make sure people have health care during the dark winter, to make sure people are not going to be evicted during a dark winter where COVID cases are out of control. You see the priority difference? We could print money for things that Wall Street loves. We could print money for things that Big Pharma, fossil fuckers, big real estate, Silicon Valley love, but we can't print money for things that the working people of this country desperately need. And by the way, Neera Tanden, I'll just play you if you could stomach it and keep pressing that like button. Some of her speech today. Watch this.
I'm honored by the trust you've placed in me to work with this talented team on behalf of the American people. I'm especially proud to work alongside leaders who understand that budgets are not abstractions. They are a reflection of our values. They touch our lives in profound ways, and sometimes they make all the difference. Like the Vice President-elect's mother, Shamala, my mother, Maya, was born in India. Like so many millions across every generation, she came to America to pursue a better life. I was raised in a suburb of Boston, a middle-class kid. But when I was 5, my parents got divorced, and my mom was left on her own with 2 young children and without a job. She faced a choice: return to India, where at a time divorce was stigmatized and the opportunities for her and her children would be limited, or keep fighting for her American dream. She stayed, and America came through for her when times were tough. We relied on food stamps to eat. We relied on Section 8 housing vouchers to pay the rent. We relied on the social safety net to get back on our feet. This country gave her a fair shot to reach the middle class, and she made it work.
That's very telling. Imagine if you were somebody that greatly, greatly benefited from basic big government and basic government spending, food stamps, Section 8, all this. And then 20 years later, you became someone advocating to cut Social Security to fill some artificial gap that really doesn't matter. Deficits and debt don't really matter. And as long as inflation is under control, it doesn't matter how much we owe as a country because we print the money anyway. Steve Grumbine, Stephanie Kelton have been talking about this for years, modern monetary theory. But imagine you greatly benefited for this, but you're willing to harm seniors by cutting their Social Security. You greatly benefited from the government, but it all stops. You have been instrumental in blocking universal health care. You might not know, Neera Tanden helped write Obamacare, the biggest blowjob, excuse my French, to big pharma and private health care and Wall Street in American history. That's what Obamacare was. She helped write it. She has been a fierce gladiator against universal health care, Medicare for all, for no discernible reason. None. At Center for American Progress, they've taken money from Wall Street. They've taken money from Saudi Arabia. They've taken money from the United Arab Emirates. They have, years ago, they got, I believe, over $1 million from Michael Bloomberg. And then their own writers at Think Progress came out with a study on Michael Bloomberg as mayor of New York City's Islamophobic record and anti-Muslim policies. Neera Tanden killed it. She killed it because Bloomberg was a big donor. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Again, huge, terrible towards Bernie Sanders' campaign in service of Hillary Clinton. I'll just read this one part Glenn Greenwald wrote about her appointment. The list of sociopathic and even monstrous acts from Tanden is too long to list comprehensively. She punched one of her employees, a reporter for Center for American Progress, now abolished Think Progress, after he had the temerity to ask Hillary Clinton in 2008 about her support for the Iraq War. Tanden claimed she merely had pushed him, not punched, her undeferential reporter, who happened to later become Bernie Sanders' campaign manager, Fez Shakir. In 2011, as the Obama administration was participating in the NATO bombings of Libya, Tanden suggested in internal cap discussions that the U.S. steal Libya's oil as a way of reducing the U.S. deficit. A story I was able to report on because Tanden had abused and alienated so many of her employees that they worked together to leak her incriminating emails to me. This is the infamous email where she says, we have a giant deficit. Libya has a lot of oil. Most Americans would choose not to engage in the world because of that deficit. If we want to continue to engage in the world, gestures like having oil-rich countries partially pay us back don't seem crazy to me. Think about that. Think about that mentality. Libya, an impoverished country. Libya, a country with a brutal dictator where you got the rich and the poor and nothing in between. They should pay America back for what exactly? We need to steal other countries' oil to participate globally? I mean, this is basically what George W. Bush did. He just never put it in writing. This is a Democrat. This is the Center for American Progress. She's saying this shit out loud. Not to mention, years and years and years. It's not just the vile thing she put on Twitter. That, whatever. She tweets. It's she literally has been one of the top forces at the, basically, if you want to look at it in the short term, 4 or 5 year gaslighting, basically using identity politics as a shield to attack good progressives like Bernie Sanders and make them into racist, misogynist, sexist, radical communists, basically. It would be one thing if Neera Tanden was the kind of person who says, you know what, I'm liberal, but I don't agree with universal health care. I think we should have to pay something for health care, and let's have that debate. That would be more honest. That would be more acceptable. But no, she was instrumental in helping Hillary Clinton's campaign, creating the Bernie bro narrative, which was a lot of hot air. They leaked it to the media, and the media all too eagerly ran with it. She has said anti-Semitic things about Bernie Sanders. She has pushed that Bernie Sanders supporters are racist. She has helped push the narrative online that if you dare criticize Hillary Clinton, you're sexist. If you dare criticize Kamala Harris, you're racist. She is basically has helped create the narrative and the just formulaic, automatic responses from people like Joy Reid that I just showed you, where any criticism of somebody like Neera Tanden would be dismissed by simply saying, oh, she's the first Indian American in this position. Okay, so great. There's shitty Indian American politicians too. I'm not saying there shouldn't be Indian Americans having positions or black people having positions, but if they're just going to screw you, we don't want them in those positions. A corrupt black person is just a corrupt person to me, black, brown, or white. And the thing about Neera Tanden, she also, I mean, this is a personal thing to me, but she also has just, in vile ways, tried to jump on things that were not true. You know, for example, when I was smeared through the internet years ago and accused of things that I didn't do, she literally tried to start a hashtag Jordan2, a play off hashtag #MeToo. She tried to start a hashtag, literally, Jordan2, after I was falsely smeared as a rapist. I'm not making this up. I don't have the clip on me, but she tweeted it. It's out there. So this is somebody who literally has tried to use information warfare to help elevate neoliberal Wall Street policies. WikiLeaks revealed so many things about her. When Bill de Blasio, who ain't my cup of tea, when Bill de Blasio was going to endorse Bernie Sanders, he called Bill de Blasio in emails to John Podesta a terrorist. So if you have somebody who benefited from big government, who benefited from the government's welfare state, wanting to cut Social Security, being an ardent enemy of universal health care, being against a Green New Deal, basically being in huge favor of public-private partnerships, which are just fancy, PG-rated terms for private enterprise screwing working people in the name of public-private partnerships, who, even during a deadly pandemic, is not for expanding health care, who helped write Obamacare, which was a massive giveaway to insurance companies, private health care, big pharma, was for welfare reform under Bill Clinton. Remember welfare reform, which basically just took welfare away from single mothers, disproportionately minority single mothers? This is somebody who's progressive. I mean, give me a break. And, I was talking to my wife about this earlier. My wife said, I don't know if she'll be confirmed. I thought about it. I think she might be right. I think Republicans are going to pick and choose the ones they want to fight on. I think they might fight on Neera Tanden. But Joy Reid, obviously Joy Reid is just a liar and disingenuous to begin with. But there were so many things in that clip that were completely disingenuous. Number one, she's Indian American, fine. It's not only Republicans that have a problem with her. If anything, I'd say progressives have more of a problem with her than Republicans do. So Joy Reid just tried to basically toss away the progressive opposition to it and just pretend this is Republican partisanship. I mean, it's so disingenuous. And then you have Mazie Hirono basically saying, oh, she's a huge improvement. Huge improvement because her predecessor, just wanted to cut Social Security. Hey, Mazie, go watch the clips of Neera Tanden wanting to cut Social Security. I also want to read you this. This is from the World Socialist website, which has great stuff. You should check it out. I'll put the link in the super chat. They do really, really good stuff on the Democratic Party's connections to Wall Street. This is a really illuminating part about Neera Tanden. Hold on. A book could be written about Tanden's role in promoting right-wing social policies and the defense of American imperialism while using the language of liberalism and progressive politics. Tanden was a vociferous supporter of Hillary Clinton for the Democratic nomination in 2016. Tanden became notorious for her attacks against Clinton's chief challenger, Bernie Sanders, which continued during the 2020 campaign. Despite the media characterization of CAP as a left-wing think tank, its major function has been to prepare and devise right-wing, pro-market policies for Democratic administrations like the Affordable Care Act, which Tanden played a major role in crafting while she worked in the Obama White House. CAP endorsed a proposal by Obama during budget negotiations with congressional Republicans to calculate increases in Social Security payments through what was called chain CPI, a version of the Consumer Price Index constructed to produce lower increases in benefits, actually cuts in real terms, since the increases would lag behind the real rise in the cost of living. Bernie opposed chain CPI at the time, but Tanden has continued to support it while admitting that it is regressive as a necessary element in a budget compromise with Republicans. This, of course, is exactly the posture advocated by Joe Biden throughout the presidential campaign when he claimed he would be able to find common ground with Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell and other congressional reactionaries. Tanden was co-author of an influential article published in 2012 by the New England Journal of Medicine under the title A Systemic Approach to Containing Healthcare Spending, which defended Obamacare as the basis for substantially reducing the cost of healthcare for both corporations and the government. The lead author of this was Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, brother of the former mayor of Chicago and Obama aide, and a leading public advocate of reducing healthcare spending aimed at prolonging the lives of the elderly. While her remit in the Obama White House was domestic policy, Tanden has played a significant role at CAP in supporting the type of aggressive foreign intervention espoused by Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. Tanden argued during the U.S. NATO attack on Libya that Libyans should be forced to turn over large proportions of their oil revenue to repay the U.S. for the costs incurred in bombing Libya, on the grounds that Americans will support future wars only if they see that the countries attacked by the U.S. pay for the invasions. So let's get this straight. America bombed the shit out of Libya, and now today, after America got involved in Libya, toppled Muammar Gaddafi, Libya is a modern-day slave trade. Literally, look it up. Libya has modern-day slavery. Okay? Neera Tanden wanted Libya to pay us back for fucking destroying its country. I mean, this is sociopathic. Absolutely sociopathic behavior. Absolutely sociopathic psychology. But she went up there today. She talked about living in Section 8 housing. Joy Reid and the other stooges say, hey, first Indian American, this is history. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And honestly, the media, the 180-degree turn by the media, fixating on Donald Trump's corruption, which they should have. Trump is corrupt. Fixating on how corrupt his administration is. But when you flip, and now it's just your average Tuesday Democratic neoliberal corruption coming into the White House, you're just the general revolving door of corporate CEOs, think tank CEOs, lobbyists, defense consultants for defense contractors. When it's the usual suspects that are corrupt being appointed, we don't talk about their corruption. We talk about the fact that they're Indian American, or they're black, or they're all women. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And by the way, I don't even think Neera Tanden has the skills to run the budget of the United States of America. I don't see that. I mean, it's kind of different writing neoliberal reports that Wall Street and pharmaceutical companies want at the Center for American Progress compared to crunching the numbers for the United Corporations of America's budget. So, I don't know. It's truly, truly disgusting. And frankly, I'd like to hear from Bernie. Neera Tanden did more to tank Bernie Sanders' campaign, the progressive movement. She's not progressive. She's not even centrist. She's right wing. And if Bernie doesn't speak up, if progressive leaders don't speak up, we're going to hear more and more gaslighting. Here is so-called progressive, even though I was saying when he ran, he's not a progressive. Here's Andrew Gillum gaslighting on Neera Tanden.
Period. As we hear the unfolding of the attacks against Neera Tanden, please suspend with this. She's, the ultra left wing of the Democratic Party establishment. That's not what that is. What they are challenging is a strong, brilliant, powerful, savvy, experienced woman calling them on the carpet using facts. Period.
Oh, God, how the mighty have fallen. He's probably angling for some type of position in Biden. A strong, dynamic women. I got to tell you something. And listen, I'm a man. I don't want to piss anyone off. I really think what the corporate media, what Biden's people are doing by it's like Harry Potter. You remember they had like the invisibility cloak around them? This is like a corporate neoliberal invisibility cloak. What they're doing is just completely cloaking and trying to shield their policies, their worldview, their disastrous records, their neoliberal perspectives by saying Indian American, black, all women communications team. And I actually think that does actual damage to feminism. I think it does actual damage to, equality, civil rights, because it really bastardizes feminism. It bastardizes civil rights by saying, oh no, all that matters is just the face. All that matters is just the color. All that matters is just the gender. No, that's not all that matters. What matters is, yes, it's great to have an administration that looks like America. It's great to have an administration or have people in politics that more represent America more. But the thing is, they're not representing America. Just because you have more women or more black people or more Indian Americans, that's not an actual representation of America, because America is not only about your color, your skin, your color, your heritage, whatever. What would actually represent America is more working people in these administrations. What would actually represent America is more labor and union members. What would actually represent America is more people working paycheck to paycheck being put into positions. People that actually are living embodiments of what American people are actually experiencing. I would venture to guess more black people would want somebody who is actually for helping them economically than just having a black person. And I'm telling you that because I've interviewed a lot of black people around the country. Not to say like, oh, I have a black friend, so I know. I've interviewed, at this point, hundreds and hundreds of black people over the last few years. They're not down, for the most part. The older generation, a little more. But the younger generation, they're not satisfied with just having the black people staffing the administrations. I would venture to guess Indian Americans feel the same. Policy is what matters, because policy is life or death right now. Policy is life or death right now, particularly with coronavirus out of control. So we're going to get more of this gaslighting, folks. Going to get a lot more of this gaslighting from Joy Reid, Andrew Gillum. I'm sure Rachel Maddow will jump in. I'm sure the New York Times. And when Neera Tanden is hammered at her nomination hearing, the sexist boo-birds are going to come out. The racist boo-birds are going to come out. I'm sure David Brock and all the Correct the Record online trolls, Neera Tanden's army of trolls, because we haven't even gotten to her army of trolls, they're going to come out and they're going to attack people like me. They're going to attack people like Jimmy and all this. But make no mistake about it. Identity politics is dangerous. Identity politics keeps the masses' brains numb. Identity politics distracts from the real issue, which is class, which is corruption, which is never-ending oligarchy and poverty. Identity politics is the go-to way for oligarchs, for Wall Street, for corporations that have hijacked the media to completely distract from the real issue. And the real issue, folks, as I always tell you, is this. That's the issue. It ain't black, it ain't white, it's red, and it's blue. The red line is your money, our money being stolen over the last 40 years, being hoarded over the last 40 years to the very few. That blue line is you and I. This is the issue. And I don't really give a damn if Neera Tanden is an Indian American. I don't care if the new Deputy Treasury Secretary is black. I don't care if the communications team for Biden is all women. Hey, if people want to attack me for saying all these things, that's fine. I don't care, because those facts aren't going to change this. If their mentalities are, and if their philosophies and ideology are the same, are in step with the system that gives us this, I don't really care what their gender is, or their heritage, or their race. It doesn't matter. And it shouldn't matter. Levon, $4.99. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, am I being too dramatic? Am I being too hard on Neera? Am I being too hard on Andrew Gillum? I don't think so. Frankly, I think the media has gone to sleep. The media has gone back to brunch already. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So, I'm going to keep calling it out because it's bad. It's bad. So we shall see. We shall see. Let me read a couple comments, questions, concerns. Remember, folks, we just today launched a new $2 membership level. I really, really hope to see more of you signing up. I know during this pandemic, a lot of you have not been able to sign up as members. So our lowest membership was $5 a month. With the $5 membership, you got access to our Discord, our monthly members calls, our behind-the-scenes videos. But we've also now created a $2 membership, which gives you Discord access. And the Discord is a lot of fun. I really, really hope more people could sign up as a member for as low as $2 a month to join our Discord. I'm putting the link in the chat. You just go to that link. Pretty simple. You could either sign up through PayPal or Stripe. And you will see once you're signed up, they'll give you the link to the Discord. And from there, get in the Discord. I'm going to hop in a little bit, so I'll be able to talk to you in the Discord. Let me take some questions, comments, concerns. For those of you that missed the Jimmy Dore interview, I am going to, we are going to cut it up and post it in clips tomorrow. But you could, of course, rewind this live stream and watch. Jordan, are you saying you're against more female drone bombers? Yes, I am. I am. I'm against female drone bombers. Absolutely. So, I'm so sorry for all you young folks. What a pile of shit boomers have left you. So true. So true. Andrew Gillum is a moron who says things to get likes. I agree. No, you've seen this shit with your own eyes, Jordan. You cover the fallout from their atrocious policies. Yes, and Status Coup covers the fallouts in the field, on the ground. I have seen this up close. I've seen this in Flint. Almost 7 years later, still don't have clean water. I've seen this at the pipeline protests. I've seen this, black people being murdered all over this country. I was on the ground covering it long before George Floyd. We have been out there, and we will continue to be out there. It's obviously harder these days with COVID. We got to be safe too, but we will continue to be out there. Jen right now is suffering from coronavirus because we've been one of the few outlets out there in the trenches. So definitely sign up. Jordan is misogynist confirmed. Okay, doctor, whatever you say. Sign up, $2. You could sign up for $2 a month. I really hope more of you can put some skin in the game, because that's the only way we're going to grow. We don't take money from big bankers. We don't take money from fossil fuckers. Don't take any money from big pharma. We don't take money from big real estate, Silicon Valley, military industrial complex. We don't take their money. We don't want their money. We are supported by you, the viewers. So please, if you can, sign up as low as $2 a month. You could also, if you're already a member, you could also support our reporting GoFundMe. Just got a donation from Catherine, $25. Thank you, Catherine. Really appreciate it. So there you go. We're almost at our next milestone in GoFundMe. And I just had a call today, actually, with LiveView. We might be making a purchase for another piece of equipment that could help us in broadcasting live, specifically from these big events like the Million MAGA March or something like that. So definitely, if you could contribute, there's the GoFundMe link. It makes a big difference. Let me read a couple other comments, questions, concerns. Jen doesn't even have coronavirus. Oh, yeah, Trev? Have you seen her medical chart? She does have coronavirus. She was just diagnosed with it by a doctor. So get the hell out of here. I honestly, I'm not going to waste my energy, but at this point, I'm beginning to think corona truthers are missing major screws. And I don't wish coronavirus on anybody, but when people write things like it's not that bad or whatever, if you haven't had it, I wouldn't speak about it, because I've had it and it is that bad. It is that bad. And people like you, Trev, or other people, it infuriates me. It really infuriates me, these corona truthers. So anyway, we need more female and diverse corona truthers. I like that. 222. Yes. And if you have any story ideas, pitches, anything, email us, info@statuscoup.com, info@statuscoup.com. Really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.